Hello.
Hello.
Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Girl, I think you and I have been through it this month. Our mental health has been tested quite a lot this month.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's definitely been a test.
Definitely. So welcome everybody to Mentali-Tea for Mental Health Awareness Month. Whew. And I'm kind of glad that the month is winding down. I don't know about you.
Is it?
I don't know. Well, next month is a pretty special month for you. Okay, whatever. It's her birthday, everybody. Next month, but whatever.
We gotta get there. It's so much.
I know. I'm just
get there.
Trying to give you something.
The day of this national celebration is a day we start summer camp.
Oh, well, that sucks.
And I will likely be holding a reptile. Some type of creature on that particular day.
I'm guessing it's not on your list of things to do.
It was never on my list of things to do, but that is what's happening at summer camp that day. I'll be holding some kind of critter. I'll tell you more about it later.
We'll have to chat after this. And yes, I need to catch up on that one. But I was just trying to give you something, positivity at the end of the rainbow.
I have learned that positivity sometimes can be toxic as well. Yeah. And what we need to be focused on is peace. Whatever it is that brings us peace. Tonight, it's going to be this piece of cake that I have after the show. That's going to be the piece for tonight. Peace that resists us will be a piece of cake. Perhaps it'll be peace found in this cup of tea, maybe. Might be a little peace in the tea. And, hopefully everybody will leave with some good nuggets of wisdom on tonight.
Yes. What tea are you drinking? Speaking of tea.
Oh, I am preparing for a good night. So,
you froze. Okay, there you go.
Yes. Shout out to Tazo Dream Tea.
Great.
And we're gonna get started early.
It's gonna be a short show, everybody. I'm gonna start falling asleep.
Focusing on the tea, and I pulled out. I went way in the back of the cabinet.
Nice.
Kids have been my life this month.
Yeah.
And next Friday will be our last day of programming for the school year. And I'll have 2 weeks of no kids, which is fun to think about. But I'll still be planning for them. But I saw all these kids on the mug, and I said, let me pull this out. So United Nations. It also, brought to mind the theme of the show, in dealing with mental health awareness. I tend to think about equality. I think about mental health awareness. So United Nations and equality, the mug kind of spoke to me tonight.
Yeah.
So, what are you sipping on tonight?
Well, I'm going to say hello to Martha really fast because, she's always our loyal viewer.
Oh, hold on now. I didn't even have it up. Hey, Martha.
Hey, sis. Well, as I've told you before, my social battery has been running on extra fumes since basically 2 weeks ago.
All right.
And it's still not recharged. So I chose a yogi tea, and I chose relaxed mind to support some tranquility.
Yes.
Some tranquility.
Yes.
And my mug I chose because I was kind of in that mood, and it makes me happy. And it is King George from Hamilton. Because how can you not smile at that? Like, how can you not smile at that? Yeah.
Yes.
For our Hamilton lovers,
the comic relief
he was
of
the
that production. I could not wait to see him creep out the corner.
Oh my.
That was,
and he comes out.
It was amazing.
It was incredible. But yes, so this.
Well, let's try that.
Brings me.
Cheers to another show. That's hot. I think some of my lip skin is
on your mug.
In your mug. Very hot. Very hot.
This has an interesting flavor. I don't know what that is.
Look, I have been experimenting. Oh, that's what that flavor is. This has almond. This has hints of almond. I was like, but I've been experimenting with less and less honey. 1 spoon.
I didn't put anything in it. I don't
you told me that last time, and I'm not there yet. I'm not quite evolved to no.
I just drink it straight.
Straight, no chase.
This is a lot of flowers in it.
Flowers.
Or leaves.
I definitely taste the almond. I think the almond is overpowering anything else that might be in here.
I think it's Martha, there's lavender in here. I think that's what it is. We have a story about that. The lavender.
There's lavender in this too, but I taste more almond than anything else. But it's cool. It's cool. What shirt you rocking today?
So this again, the Stay Another Day. Yes, however, this is the shirt I told you on the inside of the sleeve that has
988.
988.
Suicide Prevention Hotline.
And the back says tomorrow needs you. And in it's the semicolon.
Love that.
So people will see that in the back, and then this I always have the sleeve, and it does say right there, it says 24/7 988.
Excellent. Well, in honor of our special guest tonight, I pulled out my God Plus Therapy shirt.
Nice.
Because you need both. Sometimes you need both. You know, people will argue you down. You know, that one is fine. Combination, a healthy combination of
there is room for both at the table.
Yes, it is necessary. Absolutely necessary.
And y'all, sorry if I look like a pale ghost. I don't know what's going on with my ring light. Is very bright.
If you be still.
I can't help it. I'm moved. You know what? It's the new computer. I got a new laptop, and it's higher.
That's fancy.
Than the other one I had, and maybe that's why. See, because when I put my hands up here, I don't look so like I can't do the whole show like this. It's just weird.
Don't.
That's not gonna work. Raising them anyway.
Well, I did not have the energy nor the mental capacity to bring the chair and flip the ottoman and open the thing and do what I usually do to be in front of the window. So I'm on the lounger. I'm on the chase. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
And please don't judge me because there's still plastic on my lampshade. I couldn't decide if I wanted to keep it. And I still haven't quite made up my mind because these are like a different size than the ones I had before. You literally have to like put your hand like way up there.
No.
So if you're standing up, it's like, this is kind of far to go.
For a lamp, it's getting a little too personal.
So I would
take the lamp out to dinner first if you're going to put your hand there.
Get it there, right? So I still haven't, I hadn't decided. I think I might be past my threshold of deciding, and maybe I'll take the plastic off. But don't judge me, okay? I still got the receipt.
This is a no judgment zone.
In the plastic. Right? Somebody's gonna be like, "Why'd you get plastic on the lips?" Because I don't know if I like them yet.
Listen, my grandmother never took the plastic off her lampshade. Okay, she had one of those big old lamp. that plastic stayed on there. She would dust it off, you know.
Sure.
She
they're clean, that's for sure. They
exactly. So, and this is a no judgment zone. So if you come here judging people, you can exit stage left. Thank you very much.
Unless you want to turn them for me. Hey, that's great.
Oh my gosh. So mental health awareness, y'all. We didn't have any like specific topics to cover because it's such a broad month. There's so many topics to cover.
It is.
But we do have a special guest tonight, which I'm super excited about. And it's her first time doing a podcast. And she is a very dear friend of mine that I go to church with. And we have a little inside joke. We call each other, we're the doo-doo girls. And there's a story to that.
Please.
So we were singing. So she's a singer like me. So we were singing in church, and the song we were singing, Jesus is just all right with me. I think that was it. And the chorus goes, how'd it go? Do 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 do, something like that. So we were the doo-doo girls because that was like one of the first songs we sang together. So we were just the backup doo-doo girls. So it's kind of been like a running joke with us. But she recently got ordained as a deacon, which is so exciting because she worked very, very hard for that. And she's going to bring us some knowledge incorporating spirituality and mental health because she even has a book that she was studying, and it just kind of like spoke to her. And she's like, there's so much in here. I don't know how I'm going to pare it down, but we'll work it out. So I'm really excited to bring her on and have conversation. So we could do that now if you want and see where it goes. Hey, Annette.
Hey, guys.
We'll bring you on. You know,
Okay.
it's all good. Since it's just, it goes perfectly because Angel just, I almost called Angel Annette. You know what, guys? It's been this kind of week. It's been this kind of month. Words don't compute names. But Angel's shirt,
I'm loving that shirt, Angel. Where can I get one?
Thank you. That's a good question. I'll have to remember where I got it from. I've had it for a few years now.
Love it.
Yeah. And Annette, actually, Angel is the one who wrote the devotional that I did with the youth at church, Love's Great Design, which I'm sure she may have a copy laying around.
Yeah. Is there like a guest package?
That one right there. That is what I did with what the study was with the youth. 52 weeks, 52-week devotional. And she has it for sale on her website, angelsimmons.com. And if you get it from her website, ladies and gentlemen, she will personalize it for you. So
yes,
I'm in.
And it's a great devotional. It's a great devotional. It really gets you thinking every week. So, and the kids loved it, which is to get teenagers to love anything is.
That was a great experience.
Yeah.
They brought me in a couple of times to pick my brain, and they picked it for real.
Annette knows our teens at the church, so she's very.
I was gonna say, like I always tell Crissy and others, like when I got to talk to kids, I feel like the lamest person in front of them. Like they're about to be like, "Do I have to sit here? When is she gonna be done talking?" Move on.
No, it's all good. They're a good group. But I'm again, congratulations on your ordination, on becoming deacon. That's so exciting. I know you worked really, really hard to get there. And you had a lot of like anxieties about everything coming to fruition, but it did, and now you could breathe.
And I'm doing a lot of that in between all the work that's to be done now for the kingdom. So
yeah. Well, I would love for you to talk to us about that book that you read while you were studying to become a deacon, that touched on mental health and spirituality, and share your wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book, and I don't know if we do plugs because honestly, I'm not
Yes.
getting any
Yes,
kind of.
absolutely.
I'm not
We're
getting
all
any
about resources.
Okay. So the book, I don't know when you guys can see it. It's blurry. Yeah, it's going to be blurry. Anyway, it's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And it's by an author. He's a pastor, Pastor Peter Scazzaro. And I can certainly pass on the name if someone's interested later. But what kind of led him to, and his wife, to build a ministry around faith and mental health was that he realized that he did certain activities in life kind of on autopilot. He just thought he was doing it for God, and he lost focus of things that why he was doing these things. What was the purpose of that? In that journey, he learned about himself when he went deep due to some circumstances. I won't spoil the book, but due to circumstances, he kind of hit a bottom ground, right? His family structure was falling apart, and he realized that there were things he needed to tend to inside that he had not. And so he had to start at a base level and say, what do I believe? But also, who am I? And how am I living my life? And I think that's just to kind of go off of there. Health and mental health and faith go hand in hand because first off, they're not mutually exclusive. I mean, like I think Angel, you said earlier, people said, "Oh, you have one, then you don't need the other," and that's not accurate at all. And my understanding, in my own personal experience, as a person who does have anxiety, who has taken medication for anxiety, who has had panic attacks and other things happen to me, and the people that that I gratefully serve in the community. Working them together, having a center that you can return to while you're doing that work of exploring your mental health, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what causes you pain, what causes you stress, what causes you depression, is key. And we've not been traditionally, I'll speak only for my particular group. I don't think we've always been the greatest in terms of the church being supportive of that conversation. It kind of scares some people. For example, you were sharing shirts. I'm sharing my shirt.
Yes.
And the word suicide alone, it just like, it's a whisper, right? It's like, don't talk about it. Because of our historical past of shunning that conversation, to take it to a whisper because it's sinful. What was done was sinful. It was something that it was taking the life that was given to you as a gift and things of that sort. To be completely honest, there's so much more to explore in that topic of what brought someone to that point. How could we have been there before that happened? How can we be there after that's happening, right? Because there's so many folks that will either, their life ends by suicide, but there's also those who are taking the steps and didn't successfully end their life, but there's attempts, there's calls for help, as they say, and how do we walk alongside people along that journey? And what I'm thankfully seeing in our church is more conversation around, and we got to keep that going.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because I know that's one of the things Angel and I have talked about, that, a lot of us have been raised to not even visit mental health. Like that's not even a thing. Like it's God or nothing. And it's like, some churches, you're raised in a church, like if you, I know they've now changed it to unalive yourself as opposed to saying the word suicide. If you unalive yourself, but we grew up with the word suicide, but like it was ingrained. Like if you did that, you automatically were going to hell. That is what the church would teach you. Or, or if you were having some sort of anxiety or depression, well, then Satan's in you and you need spiritual healing or help or whatever. So it's really comforting to know that there are some churches and some levels of, they're realizing, hey, there is room at the table for both. Yes, mental health is a thing. It's not just God or nothing. Like you could bring them both together, therapy and God. It can work together. And I love that that faith communities are starting to embrace that, reality, because, it just can't be all or nothing all the time, so it's good that, the community is starting to come around on that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it wasn't something you could talk about.
I think a lot of the changes in how society views it within ministry is because there were a lot of ministers that were coming forward who were struggling. So never mind the ministers who were trying to help the people in the church, their congregation, with these mental health conditions that they had no training to do so. And then you get the God or nothing, right? That's it, one or the other. But then you start having pastors and deacons and elders who were struggling personally. And what do you do then? How do you reconcile that when you are a minister of the cloth, when you hold a license and a title, when you are responsible for a congregation? How do you reconcile your mental health issues with needing outside support besides the word?
Right. And I love that you say that, Angel, because it is very mutual, right? When we talk about serving the community serves us just as much, right? So a pastor receives from congregation. It isn't just a one-way street. And, taking care of the pastor and looking out for him. Hey, how you doing, pastor? Like, not just a how you doing down there. Hey, how you doing? And before he knows it, you're already gone. You're just passing him by. Like, literally, no, pastor, let's stop a minute. You doing okay? Like, checking in. I'm glad you bring that up because, clergy have had some struggles big time. I mean, they take in a lot of what's happening in their church body, right? And they give. I mean, our pastor is on all kinds of hours. He doesn't have a regular schedule because he's out meeting all kinds of individuals in various places. Have car will travel, or in his case, a scooter. But he'll go where you are. We'll meet you where you are. That's part of what our mission at our church is definitely to meet people where they are and not just say, I'm here for today. You want to talk a little bit? Okay, bye. See you later. And then leave them. That companionship piece is really important. I was reading actually in preparation for this, the National Institute for Health. Unfortunately, it's a 2003 survey. I'm sure there's got to be something else I missed along the way, but it also speaks to how long these things have been happening. They talk about that 1 out of 4 people who were struggling with a mental health concern or episode or issue went to their pastor first. Like, that's 25%. The next percentage down, a psychiatrist, was like 16%. So, they're trusting and going to this accessible person, right? That they may see, may have grown up with, maybe not, or this person's accessible. It's free for people who might be struggling financially, right? They're going to, this is free. Let me talk to him, see what he says, or she says, or they say. And that just shocked me, but it didn't shock me because growing up in the church, I did have some good church leaders that I felt confidence in. Not everyone has that experience, and I wish that wasn't the case. I know there's a lot of hurt in the church, but yeah, that's a reality that they're coming to that accessible person first, and that's part of the church mission too, is advocacy to make sure that there's equity in the access to healthcare and the education about mental health, how important body, mind, and spirit is, right, to everyone, so that we can be comfortable with ourselves, and also in relationship with others.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I like you mentioned, because it would be free, because going to a therapist, it's not always financially feasible, and
Or accessible.
or accessible. And it's interesting how high that number is, because I wonder, I always, in the back of my mind, I'm going to wonder, okay, if they go to that pastor, is that pastor going to be open to that counseling, or are they going to be the all God or nothing approach? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, to me, in the back of my mind, the risk you're taking doing that. Like, obviously, if I'm going to a church, then I'm there for a reason. Then I must like the people, the pastor, whatever. But if I'm an outsider and I'm in like my desperate times of like, I've got nowhere else to go, but I've always heard that church is a safe place, let me go in and meet with somebody. Now it's like, okay, is that pastor going to do right by you, or are they going to go the other approach? So that I don't know. I don't like to play the devil's advocate, so to speak, but that kind of, sticks in my mind, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of trauma from religion and from church, especially if that person in particular has had that trauma and they're going to church as a last resort. You know what I mean? It's like they're putting their last bit of hope into that, hoping, and then coming out hoping they're being steered in the right direction, But yeah, I mean, it really is dependent, I think, on not just the pastor, but the pastor support, like you said. I know and I'll be very candid. I went, Annette knows, and Angel both know, I went through a thing at our church with my job with the youth, and I had written a letter to our council, and I said, we need to make sure that we're checking in on everybody, and I said to them, I said, and we need to make sure people are checking in on pastor too, because pastor can't do it all. And that's the thing. Pastor is expected to do it all, but then who's checking on him? And it's like, we need to make sure that we as a church, not just the staff, but as a church, are checking in on each other. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, pastor's going to check on da, 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 and so whatever, but what about him? Like I don't know if you've seen that meme or that cartoon where the man like comes across all of these people that have dark clouds, and he just touches them and absorbs all of their negatives so that they can be happy. And then by the time he gets home, he's so just drained. And then he goes to his dog, and his dog just kind of takes all that off of him. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same thing, and so I think it's very important that, the pastor has the support as well, not just him, like you said, having to be one supporting everybody.
Yeah, I think part of that is it's still going to take a lot of work in changing the stigma, even for pastors, even for ministers, because therapy still needs to be seen as okay and acceptable. And in a lot of spaces, it still is not. There's still a huge stigma in a lot of communities, a lot of minority communities as well, where you shouldn't have to do that, as opposed to everybody should do this at some point to maintain our mental wellness. Everybody should do this. It's not a punishment for ill thoughts or a last result when you can't get help anywhere else. It should be something, that's part of your self-care. It's part of your maintenance. We don't think about mind maintenance.
Right.
We think about crises, fix the crises, as opposed to let's do this regularly so that we can have this support when we need it versus at the last straw.
Exactly.
I agree. And once it becomes a routine, it's part of your practice. It's like, again, with the physicality of your body. And if you're going to a doctor once a year or whatever you're doing, all your particular checks, us ladies with our particular tests that we need to do on a regular basis, it's just as important to make sure that that's in check. Even with my daughter, wait till we had the critical points. We got someone else that she could talk to besides her parents, you know, and that in the critical stage where we noticed the maturity in the 5th grade and 6th grade, it's like, okay, body's changing, mind's changing, peers, relationships changing. You know, we know you may not want to talk to us about everything, you know, we'd love that, but you know, you'll have someone else as well who you can talk to about it, and they have strategies if you need to walk through it, and we're great partners with that person as well. And so it's an everyday thing. We're going to go see Miss X, you know, today, and we're, you know, you can talk about finals. The finals are next week, and she's stressed about it. She knows she can go and say how she really feels in case she doesn't want to worry me how bad she might feel, you know. But it's absolutely correct. We need to support each other. We need to advocate, to talk to the subject of financial resources. If anyone watching or listening to this later, you know, when you're typically, not always, when you're employed, that you might have a large enough employer who has like an employment assistance program or EAP, where they give you a number with, I think it might be associated with the insurance, might be separate. But ask about an EAP, employment or employee assistance program, and they could maybe give you 3 referrals. You know, here are some 3 doctors in your area. You mentioned what kind of things you're looking for. Maybe you want a Christian counselor specifically, and they may have those resources. Say, give these folks a try. And there might be an allotment. You can have, I don't know, one session free. It depends. All the plans are different. All you got to do is ask, but don't be afraid to ask for that. That's part of what we're talking about here is don't put a stigma on it. Like we're more open now than we have ever been before. COVID, I think, may have helped that without expecting to, because, you know, loneliness and depression and anxiety and other things are really, you know, we're seeing them seemingly increase, and we need to address that.
Definitely. Have you, now that, I mean, even before you were in your deacon role, but have you personally had anybody come to you to have you counsel them, or has come to you looking for guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. I have, you know, it's interesting because I want to come into this every moment for the Spirit to speak. When I try to script something, which I have tons of papers here you can't see, thinking I got to be ready with some bullet points I want to get across, and it's a jungle.
We're always ready, Miss.
Yeah.
We've got bullets.
And my mind's going 100 miles an hour, and I'm like, okay, they will have a finite time to talk, and everybody has to talk. But when I'm in that space, I want that it's a sacred space. Someone is trusting you with something really deep in them, right? So, you know, my prayer is for the Holy Spirit to be in that moment with us. That's the third entity that's there. That's the third person that's there to help guide the conversation, have us be courageous to say what we need to say, to listen for God speaking in that moment. And I definitely, make sure that I know it doesn't end with me. I will accompany that person in the journey, but I am not a mental health professional. I am not licensed to do that. I don't pretend to, because I think that can be a pitfall for some people. They're like, oh, they're coming to me for help. And I'm in the church. There's got to be more support, and we want to make sure that people get that. And our Synod body definitely understands that and supports that. That's our larger governing body entity that says, churches, this is our social statement. You need to encourage, you need to be in companion with them. And we're like, hey, we were going to do that anyway. Thanks for letting us know you've got our backs on that. And make sure we've got those community resources ready for those folks, because I'm definitely going to make sure that they have that as well.
Something that I did find with our high school district, because Annette's daughter and my daughter go to high school together as well. So we're in the same high school district. But I will say, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but within the past couple of months, our district has been sending out a lot more mental health resources for families and students. And I think that's incredible. And resources even outside of the school. So that I like to see, because our teenagers struggle. Or, I mean, I worked with them at the church. You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot. And like you said, they're not always comfortable talking to their parents, or they don't have a trusting adult in their life. So to see our school district start giving more resources to these kids is really good to see. And I really hope that other schools around everywhere will start to do that. You know, and just start pushing that out, you know, and it's free resources, and that's nothing that costs any money. You know, because they know not every family can afford it, you know. So so I hope that more schools, not just in our state but across the country, will just start to do that, you know. So important. So important.
I am fortunate and blessed to work for an organization that is trauma informed, and they have a partnership with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, as well as the Perspectives organization that offers employee assistance in a number of areas. And whenever there is a crisis in the news, anything to do with school shootings or any violence in the city, or you know, just anything that might be a concern for our parents, they do not hesitate to send out that email and remind us who our partners are and what resources we have available if we are struggling. They are all about self-care, mindfulness. And, you know, if you got something going on, like, you know, I had a death in my family recently, and I walked into a work event yesterday, and there was at least 5 people that were like, all I saw was arms. And you know me, Crissy, I'm like,
I know.
People try to hug me. Don't hug me, but I had to take it. I had to take it because they knew, you know, they knew what had happened. And it's how are you? How are you really? How are you doing for real? How are you? You know, these are my people. You know, these people I work with, and it was a genuine question. You know, I had at least 5 people like, you know, sincerest condolences. How can we help? Is there anything you need? Have you eaten? Are you sleeping? What's going on? You know, and it's like, oh, you're asking the right questions. These are the right questions. No, I'm not. You know, you're asking the right questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I remember not having that support as you know, in an employer before. I remember other crises, you know, that had happened, and jobs were not responsive like that. So it's just a reminder. But we got a long way to go. And it's good that we're seeing it in suburban school districts. I would like to see it in Chicago public schools, more readily available. You know, we had a lockdown today because there was shooting in the area. We had a lockdown last week. You know, so it's like it's been 2 in the last 7 days. Jeez. 2 lockdowns last 7 days, and this is the norm. This is the norm. It's the norm in the area. It's the norm for this time of year. It's the norm for our kids. They're so used to crises and being on edge. You know, they are traumatized by nature because of their environment. And what are we doing to support these young people? So this is always my question as an educator and as a after school, you know, program provider. What are we doing to support these young people? Because we can be there every day, but they have to leave our building and go back into the real world. So this is something that, you know, is always a concern. So I'm glad it's showing up in places, but we got a long way to go.
Long way to go. Well, I will say I have noticed more and more employers even embracing it. Like Vic's company, they have a whole department just dedicated to that. So like if someone's having a time, like they just go talk to somebody right there right there at the company. I mean, they're based in Boston, but like, you hop on a Zoom or whatever. They're there. They're there for that very purpose. Mm-hmm. And more employers I'm noticing are starting to do that. Like they're actually starting to take mental health seriously and offering employees research. Like Vic will say that, at his job, they get like not angry, but you get a talking to if you haven't taken enough days off in a quarter.
Whew, child.
Not even a year, in a quarter.
I would be in the office every quarter.
Like like his boss is like, you've only taken like 2 days off. Like you need to take more days off. That's okay. And I love that, people will say what they want about our governor, but the fact that now our students can have mental wellness days and have that not count against them in their attendance, they're allowed 5 a year. That's huge. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge thing. And we've used it a couple of times. But I don't think everyone. See, that's my other thing is some take advantage of it and some actually use it when they need it. But the fact that they're there and it's being offered is a huge step in the right direction, in my opinion. So, but
I agree. We've come a long way and we have a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. At the end of the day, there's also the people who care for those that have a mental health issue too, and we try to look out for those people as well. Like our church has respite care, right? We have respite care for seniors, for example. We're giving that support to the caregiver because they need a mental health break too, right? And we forget about those unsung heroes, or we know about them and go, oh, that's good, you're taking care of your dad, but then what? Totally exhausted. My mom, has a dementia, and that's a big deal. That's that you're almost slowly losing someone, right? Mm-hmm. So I have consciously tended to my feelings about that, because it's important. Otherwise, what am I doing? Burying it in there, and and love and caregiving can quickly become resentful if you're not, careful. Like you need those breaks.
Yeah.
Deacon Annette, what would you say your vision would be for mental health and the church as a partnership? What would you like to see moving forward?
And since I'm kind of newer to the organization itself, if you think of the church as an organization, this might still exist, but I would love to make sure that our pastors not only are getting that real-time care that they need, but also that they're getting those skills to know how to tend to those first few moments of someone having a mental health episode, for example. Mm-hmm. I've taken mental health first aid. People don't even know what that is, right? So, I mean, if we don't have the basic of that, we're not ready for that. We panic. We have like even first responders who are getting training on that sort of stuff. Not everywhere. I wish that would expand. And, so in this case, our clergy can be first responders. And so I want to make sure they have the adequate support there and training there, because that person may go to therapy as they're referred from the clergy. They may come back. They may not. You might be it. What does that look like for you as the person supporting them, but also for them and how you can go a step further. So definitely making sure there's a good foundation there for the clergy. I'd love to expand that beyond that, so the whole church can hold up. Like I think Crissy or Angel, one of you said that it's not all about one person, one pastor taking care of everything. We should all work together to be able to support that mission, that goal of from everywhere from Sunday school all the way up to 99 plus years old. we should be able to support ourselves in some elemental way together. Just it's like, Galatians 6, where we carry each other's burdens so that we can live out Jesus, like, the light of Jesus in each other's lives. That's my vision, and I'm going to do the best I can to keep the mission going and to bring awareness and connect. I always tell my husband, like, he's like, what is a deacon anyway? And I've had to explain it to a few people in my church and beyond, and our denomination might be a little different. But I said, look, I'm about building bridges. I may not be able to give you what you need, but I'm going to find a way for you to get that. And I'm going to find out the resource that you need. I'm going to walk that journey with you. I'm not just going to drop you off. When I go and visit people in ministry, in the hospital or whatever, I don't do what they call a drive-by communion. Like, I'm not just like, hey, here you go. Okay, goodbye. Love God. And from afar. I'm going to spend time with you, and I'm going to make sure that you feel heard. And that's the first step, is to feel heard and get got. As I tell my husband, like, it feels good when someone gets you. And
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I was just reminded, my mother was a minister of care in the church. I grew up in the Catholic Church. And my godmother, who just passed, she was also a minister of care. So I remember they would go off to go visit one person and be gone for 5 hours. It's like, where have you been? They were spending time, and, ended up cooking or cleaning or, doing something and reading or praying or singing. It was a time, it was not just a drive-by communion. They would be going for a while. So, yeah.
Well, was there anything on your list that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to hit on your topics, Annette, or were you, did you pretty much cover everything? Because I know you're saying your kids come prepared, but I told you everything flows organically on the show. It really does, because we could just get on one question and talk about it for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to jump on early, and I was like, I want to talk about my shirt. I want to talk about the piece of cake that.
Hey, that was perfect time.
Million dollar question. Do you have a tea that you're drinking?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
I especially picked. Shout out to my doo-doo sister, my doo squared. I'm going to call it doo squared because people are like, what? That sounds weird.
It does.
Doo squared.
My and the doo squares is much cooler than the doo-doo sisters.
Thank you. Okay. I thought Angel might. Is jasmine green.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yum. That sounds good.
What? Tell us about the mug. Anything fancy?
Yeah, I had my husband choose. I was like, okay, I could do the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention because I have this going on. I'm passing on the message, making sure that's out there. And you can't see my mug. I don't know where to. I'm terrible at this.
There it is.
There you go.
It's an owl.
Beautiful. Oh, good choice.
My spirit animal, because I want to be able to see in the dark and help people out when you hit those moments.
Oh, that's deep.
That's deep.
Yeah. It's a deep tea. It's a deep mug and a deep tea.
You want to see in the dark.
Yeah.
People. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that'll be my superpower.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. Well, I love that you joined us. Thank you so much for joining us, and you rocked it. You said that you've never done a pot, like you were.
I can't tell.
Hey,
totally natural.
I had wonderful help. You guys are wonderful. I would love to have tea together in one place, actually physically one day.
Beautiful. Yes, we love that.
Yes, we love our tea. But Deacon Annette, thank you for joining us. And we'll definitely get that book title out there on our in the comments when we wrap up here. But thank you for joining us. Have an incredible night. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing everything with us and sharing that spirituality and therapy can go hand in hand. And it's not, one is just not exclusive to the other.
Absolutely. Hey,
it's on the shirt. Yeah.
Have a great night. Be blessed, ladies.
You too. Thanks. You too. Thank you.
You too. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
I knew she would be perfect. I just knew
perfect.
it.
Great
She was so
choice, Crissy.
right.
Great
She was like the
choice.
first person that came to my mind when we were talking about
Sure was. That was
guests.
the first
And
name you said. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I feel like I want to bypass statistics, and because I mean that was such a positive note to finish on. It's like I don't want to talk
I
about
agree.
numbers.
I'm fine with
and
that. I don't think we need
statistics
to.
and whatever. We can talk about support. We can talk about that, but if you are
Resources.
looking for, I got resources for you.
Oh, you always
If
have
you are
resources.
looking for virtual help, where you don't even have to leave your home, Talkspace is an excellent resource. BetterHelp as well. If you are a minority, Therapy for Black Girls is also an excellent page to check out. The New Crisis Hotline. What's that number you got on your shirt there?
Let's see. What does that say? That says
988 is the New Crisis line. Used to be 1-800-273-TALK. Now it's just 988.
3 numbers. 988.
That is
24/7, you guys. 24/7.
The crisis hotline. And if you want to text somebody, you don't feel like talking to anybody, 741-741. You can text any word, hello, help, anything, doesn't matter. Hi. And someone is always manning that line 24/7. We mentioned NAMI earlier, National Alliance on Mental Illness. We were talking about
such great resource on that website. Especially right now for Mental Health Awareness Month. I highly encourage you all to go visit that website. Anyway,
we kind of touched on suicide prevention. So the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, excellent resources as well as training if you're looking for training. And the No Stigmas organization. I had a nice little list here. No Stigmas organization. Yes, that is also somewhere you can receive some training. If you want to become a mental health ally, No Stigmas. So, those are some good places to start if you are in need of resources and you don't want to leave your house.
And I think isn't there another one called Talkiatry? I believe I saw that one. There's one called Talkiatry, which is another like virtual find a counselor.
Okay, I don't know that one. All right, Talkiatry.
But okay, so we are coming to the end of this month, and we need some self-care. I think mental health involves self-care.
Has to
Involve self-care.
What do you got?
Oh man. Let me tell you, I will tell you guys, now that the weather is starting to get nice out.
You're on that deck, aren't you?
Oh, you know it. Absolutely. You already know it. I wash my face, put my sunscreen on my face, and I am out there like this. Honestly, not going to lie, sometimes I'm on my phone, but just feeling that sunshine. Y'all, I can't tell you. And I've been more active on my TikTok lately because I've turned my TikTok into more of like trying to make it more positive, like a mental health outlet, talking mental health, also making some fun videos or whatever. But I had brought this up the other day, and it's like, I don't know about everybody else, but for me personally, I felt like this past season of seasonal depression was the worst. For me anyway. And there's other people who feel that way too. And so
what is that? Seasonal affective
depression.
Okay.
And honestly, the minute that sun is out, I'm out in the sun. And it is so like, I mentioned how recharging it is. It just recharges you. You know what I mean? And you don't even have to sit out there for very long. But if you just take 5 or 10 minutes right? And you're just sitting out there just undisturbed. Don't touch your phone. Close your eyes. Feel it on your face, and then just listen to the sounds of nature around you. 5 or 10 minutes. If you can just do that, that recharges your battery even just a little bit. Like I find that to be very peaceful. That's what we talked to, what you mentioned earlier, right? Being peaceful, finding some peace instead of always being positive, right?
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I remember last summer, a lot of people I knew or followed were suffering from vitamin D deficiencies. We have been home inside for 2 years. Last year was like 2 years we've been at home. And there are a lot of people that, were finding out that they had vitamin D deficiencies.
Absolutely.
And I think that had a lot to do with it, because they were not outside in the sun. Had forgotten what that was like, or weren't used to it, or I'll open the blinds and I'm going out.
Supplement everything. Yeah,
exactly.
You guys don't realize that vitamins play such a vital role in your mental health too.
They do.
I've noticed that, like, when I remember to take my vitamins, I should take them every day. I don't remember. But you're kind of guilty of that too, so you can't judge me.
Listen, it has been a couple of weeks. However, every morning, in my delicious breakfast shake, I throw in an emergency that includes vitamin D and zinc.
Okay.
Every morning. So I'm getting that if I get nothing else. But I have not sat down. I did last week one day. But outside of the one day last week, I don't think I had vitamins this month.
Yeah. But I noticed when, and Vic will tell you, like, when I remember to take my vitamins and I get sunshine, I'm like a whole different person. Like, I'm actually happy.
It makes a difference. It makes a difference in my sleep.
Yes.
It makes a difference in my sleep. I go to sleep much faster, and sleep longer when I'm consistently stretching at night, taking my vitamins, going to bed before 1. Those are all important things that have. That's a combo platter. It has to happen. My night routine. Like, I had to fill up the aromatherapy 2 days ago, because I realized I've been using the light and there's no smell goods. And the light doesn't go off automatically. I have to go and cut it off, which means I'm going over my hour.
Over your
which
hour.
was the routine, because the light's just on. It's like, I don't know how long I've been in here, so bedtime routine. This is my contribution. Bedtime routine is extremely important to my self-care. There's some things that have to happen. I close the house down room by room.
She does.
I
have been on video calls with Ashley.
I'm going to relocate. I'm going to relocate.
Yes.
Close the house down. The aromatherapy happens. The light is a certain color or a certain couple of colors. The music is very low. The blinds are cracked. Hopefully some stretching took place before I relocated. If not, I got to do it in the bed. But I got like my timer on that aromatherapy. So when that lights goes off, I know how much more time I got left. Like last couple of videos, or we click over to solitaire or something, and then we're done here. Night time. Last thing I'm doing is my devotion.
There you go.
First thing I'm doing in the morning is my devotion. So, those routines are important for me. And when I don't get it, I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm off, but I'm noticing more and more those vitamins were part of that routine.
Play a role.
Even though it wasn't a nighttime thing, I can tell the difference.
Yes. And this has nothing to do with vitamins or mental health at all, but I had to tell you because he's your favorite. It's Odie's birthday today.
Odie. Okay, I'll have to sing.
For those of you who don't know who Odie is, okay, we have 3 dogs, and Odie's our big brown dog who absolutely loves Angel. And he's like,
you don't act like it though.
He's not on video, but when you're here, he wants
I'm here. He just brings me his butt. He literally brings me his butt.
But
Are
he
you gonna
turned 9 today.
rub
He
it or
turned
something?
9. Yeah.
9?
9.
9 times
He's
7.
got his gray hair coming in under
9
his
times 7.
63.
I got
He's gonna be able
myself
to
a senior
retire.
citizen. Got myself a senior citizen. I always
Yeah,
wanted
senior
a sugar
citizen.
daddy.
But
That's the only
so I
senior
bought some
citizen I
whipped
want
cream to
bringing me
make
they
some.
butt. Okay. That's
Yeah,
it.
I brought some whipped cream, so we're gonna have a little celebration with all the dogs after this, so that they can
And
have their little
whipped cream party.
whipped cream party.
Bananas. You're gonna go bananas. Oh, that's so
But-
much fun.
Yes. But in addition to sitting out in the sun and taking your vitamins, go for a walk. The weather's getting nice out. Just
I have to get back into that routine.
I
I
mean,
did
and
that
I'm
a
saying
couple of
this as if
times.
I do it and I don't. But I'm figuring if
Walk
I
the
say
mall.
it out loud, then I'll start to hold myself accountable to
Walk
start doing
Sam's
it.
Club.
Oh, we walked Costco the other day.
See, that's a great date right there. I'm telling you.
That was
Sexy.
wonderful.
Ain't nothing sexier than the warehouse store.
My love language is quality time. We could be at Costco. We could be at Walgreens. We could be at I don't care. Quality time. It's all like
you can get those steps in anywhere.
Anyway.
Yeah, I have to get back into the habit of that. Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's been a very stressful month for it
has.
to be mental health awareness, and I think that was part of it. Being aware.
Yeah.
I was very aware of my mental health this month. Very much so aware.
I mean, and that's kind of touching on what Annette said. I mean, you and I were not pastors. Yes, we co-host a mental health podcast, but y'all, your co-hosts have their moments too, where the mental health, it's like, oof, it gets exhausting.
And I got hundreds of certifications, and it don't change the fact that I was stressed out this month. Stressed, you hear me? And had to keep moving.
Yes,
somebody asked me how Leanza. He asked me how are you pushing through all this? Pushing. That's all I'm doing is push.
Yeah.
That's all I can do is push. I ain't got to work.
Yeah.
I gotta go work. I got meetings. I gotta get up. I got reports to do. We got stuff to do. Still gotta keep moving. So and try to do it, and be pleasant. Try to be pleasant. And if I can't be pleasant, I'm gonna definitely be peaceful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, I had to be quiet this one. I disappeared from social media. Only a few people,
I know. I
bothered to look for me. But I
noticed that, but I know when you go quiet, that's like
it. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Everybody don't know that, but I sure enough appreciate that. But I had to disappear, and I posted something yesterday. I think yesterday might have been the first post, or a day before. It was this week. It's like the first post in like 3 weeks or something on a couple of those pages. I was like, May 3rd, May 6th. Oh, it's been a while. Okay, nobody was looking. Nobody's looking. But that's something you got to do. And it's not, I wasn't like taking a break or, detoxing. I was scrolling every day. I was hearting every day, commenting every day, but I had nothing to say.
Right.
I had nothing to say. I had nothing to offer that would have been genuine.
Yeah.
So I had to take my break. I can listen.
Yeah.
Pay attention. I can watch, but I didn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
And knowing when to shut up, it's some good self-care too. Shut up. Just shut up. You'll figure some stuff out when you shut up.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
It's true. It's true.
And it's interesting when you live alone, I can go 8 hours without speaking.
See, I just start having conversations with myself. I can't. I don't know what my issue is, but I can't. Like, I know I need to sit in silence. I know I do. I'm like, I just need to sit in silence. I need to just whatever. And then I just start having conversations with myself out loud. Like, this is like, oh Lord, I need help. Like, put me in a padded room at this point.
I love when Mama calls me. She's like, "Did you just wake up?" And I was like, "No, I haven't spoken in 9 hours. This is my first talk voice." Like, I've been awake. I just wasn't talking. I have to use my voice. That is hilarious. Unless I'm singing around the house, there is nothing happening here. I'm laughing at the TV, or I'm laughing while I'm scrolling, but there's no talking happening. It's so quiet, And I've gotten used to that quiet. So self-care tip number 3, shut up.
Be silent. Don't have conversations with yourself. Don't follow my example.
Terrible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
well,
this was a great, I loved this. I love that it was just such a great organic conversation. Annette was incredible, and this was the best way I feel to end Mental Health Awareness
Definitely. It's like, who needs notes? Nobody needs notes.
We don't need notes. You know what? We live it every day.
Yeah.
We got our experience.
I get notes every month. You want some notes? Go to last year's Made Mental Health. Mentality.
Catch the replay from 2020.
Get all the statistics you want. This was a conversation. That's good.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. So, well, thank you all for joining. Martha, thank you for joining us. And anybody else who may have joined us and just was watching, thank you so much. And if you didn't, I hope you catch the replay on our YouTube channel, B-Side Studios. Look it up.
I'm gonna have to do better about posting some sound bites. Yeah, I think we had a few sound bites tonight. I'll have to pop up.
Yeah. We got it. I mean, well, last time Maurice had made that little snippet about
that was hilarious.
That was a riot. Like, I didn't realize that story was so funny.
Listen, with the graphics and oh my gosh, and that cake.
Man,
matter of fact, I had one of them last week.
And he picked the perfect cake because that that you had mentioned lemon cake. So it was
I had one last week.
Hilarious. I'm still waiting for Portillo's to sponsor us, man.
Somebody. Portillo's, Tazo, Yogi. Listen, we sick of
Yogi. Oh my gosh. Yes.
You need to support us. You see, I switched over to Tazo this month. Like, no Yogi.
Yeah. We need all the tea people, all of you tea people, Lipton, whoever. But anyway,
celestial seasonings. I don't care. Somebody.
Earl Grey. I mean, come on, man. What
Starbucks got tea.
They use Tazo tea, I thought. Or
you're right. It is Tazo. See, right back to Tazo. Come on, Tazo.
I mean, hello.
Who has a mug company? Because I'm running out of stuff to show. I dug way in the back of the cabinet for this. I'm trying not to repeat my mugs now. Come on, I need some mugs. Y'all gonna have me go mug shopping just for Mentali-Tea. And where am I gonna put them? Then I'm gonna need a curio of some sort.
Yeah.
Just to display my mugs.
Seriously. You can come shopping in my cabinet because I got all the mugs. And you know what? I realized my kitchen is not made for short people. Even on my step stool, I still can't reach the top. And I am now officially the shortest person in the house. So whatever.
Jasmine taller than you.
Jasmine taller than me now.
You poor. You know what? Andy, Odie, and Callie are not.
True. But when Odie stands on it, well, true.
Okay, I was trying not to. I wasn't going.
No, I appreciate that. I'm not the shortest. I'm the shortest human.
There you go. Shortest human. All right.
The shortest human. We'll go with that.
I can't help you.
Yeah, I know. But we'll get together soon because we need a rainbow cone date. So that's going to be on the books.
Yes.
And there's a rainbow cone. Yes.
There's a new one that just opened up.
There's one closer to our house now, too.
There's a new one. I think grand opening is this weekend.
There's one that's closer
Or you
to
can
us.
find the truck. Just follow
There's
the truck.
one. It's closer to us, and it's right by a Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, you speaking the right language, lady.
I'm just saying. Texas
Chicken, fried chicken, honey butter, and rainbow cone.
I'm just saying. We need to have a dinner date night soon, so we will get that on the calendar for sure.
And this is why there's still fat on my back. It's right here.
No. We are healthy women. We are healthy women.
Look.
Who enjoy our food, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Hot wing summer instead of hot girl summer. Just hot wings.
Hey, whatever. Give them. It's fine.
Summer gonna get whatever body I give it.
Exactly. That is where I'm at in life. It's gonna get whatever I give it.
And that's it.
That's
what. On that note.
On that note, thank you all again for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the month. We'll see you in June.
We'll see you.
Somebody's birthday. Oh wait, I'm pointing this way because my camera's pointing this way, so it's gonna be someone's birthday. Wait, I don't know. When I'm looking, it's pointing that way.
It will. Will it have passed when we do our show? I think it will.
I don't know. I haven't even looked at the date yet.
Yep, it'll be right after. So I'll already be 45 when you see me again.
She's lying. Right. She's still 20 something else. So anyway.
I'll take it. My knees say
all right, y'all.
All right.
We love you. Have a great week. Bye, y'all.